Hi, and welcome to the Get Real Show, brought to you by Keystone Partners Group, the show that strips away the myth and the mystery surrounding success in the real estate industry. Today, we are joined by two very special guests, Josh and Jen McKnight. Josh and Jen run the Josh and Jen McKnight team, headquartered in Horsham, Pennsylvania. Not only are they extremely successful at what they do in real estate sales, they've also been very effective at evolving their business over time to be successful in any market. So Josh, Jen, I'd like to really thank you for both being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having us.
It's an honor.
Appreciate it.
So tell me about your business. Give our audience a little bit of background about what your business looks like today.
Okay. Well, we are a husband and wife team. My wife Jennifer and I are the rainmakers of the team. Mm-hmm. We also have a buyer specialist who works with us, and two full-time admin, an executive administrator and a transaction coordinator that helps us with the back-end office work.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And tell me about the volume of production that you and your team are doing in 2016.
2016, we're at about 100 units right now through the,
Wow.
We're at about mid-year now. We have a little bit to catch up to our goal. We made a goal of 220 units. Mm-hmm. And so we have to do a little bit more work here to make sure we're on target to hit that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. So 200. So you think you'll hit 220?
I think we will.
Great. And what type of sales volume would that be?
That would be 25 to 30 million.
25 to 30 million. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. Great. So tell me, how long have you personally been in the real estate business, Josh?
2003, I got licensed. Okay. My father was in the business with Century 21 down in Maryland. That's where we used to live. Mm-hmm. And I was 20 years old at the time.
Wow.
20 years old. And when we went through school and we got my license. And I thought it was a great transition to get into the business because my father was already doing it. Sure. You know, seeing him work it when I was growing up, I just fell into place being able to get into the business. So that's when I initially got licensed, and Jennifer got licensed with me at that time as well.
Oh, so you were licensed together?
Yep, so we both got licensed in 2003 together, and we're in Maryland until about 2008, and then we actually moved to Pennsylvania to be closer to my family, and I took a little sabbatical to stay home with our kids, and then I got relicensed about 2 years ago, but had been working in the background still through that time frame, doing some reporting and admin stuff for Josh. Yeah, so never really stepped out of the business. I just stepped down as an agent and then stepped back up.
2008, you remember?
Yeah, sure.
It was a great year for real estate.
It sure was.
And it was a great year to move.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So you were with another company in 2003, and when you moved up here, you switched to Keller Williams.
Right. So 2003 to 2008, we were Century 21. Okay. Yeah. 2008.
That's awesome.
Forward till today, Keller Williams.
Yeah. So tell me about how your business evolved between 2003. Did you kind of wake up 2003 with a brand new license and just start killing it immediately? Because you're 20 years old. I mean, tell me what that felt like to be 20 and immediately in real estate full time.
Yeah. At 20 years old, you really don't have much to lose. There's not a lot there in terms of, at least for me, maybe other people, but I didn't have a lot of responsibility at that time. Mm-hmm. So it was easy to get into the business, okay? Because I could live off of one settlement a month, right?
Sure.
Based on my budget back then. I joined my father's team, okay? So it was, I guess what you would call a traditional split is what he gave me.
Sure.
And I did listings and buying side, okay? And I did that until 2008, and when we broke off to move up here, we started our own team.
So how do you think that impacted your success, having a model like your dad to be able to follow exactly what he did and have trust in the fact that he would want you to be successful, or even more successful than him, right?
Right. Well, my father was definitely a role model in the real estate business. I took the good pieces of what he did, and I also observed what not to do. Mm-hmm. So, and I learned from that, okay? I would see his struggles in certain aspects of the business, and taking hindsight is always 20/20, right?
Sure.
And see, wow, he should have done this, this, and that, and maybe let's stay away from that area, okay? And also took, he had great people skills. He could talk to people, okay? And so those are kind of some of the things I took away from that.
So you were mostly focused on traditional resale in 2003.
2003. Well, we did a lot of we did traditional, okay?
Yeah.
And we were also in the distressed market even back then. We had dabbled in distressed and flipping properties. So a lot of our marketing was geared towards, we did some We Buy Homes marketing, okay? We would go on the appointment, all right? And we would, if the numbers worked, we would make an offer to buy the home, okay?
Yeah.
And with the intent to either rent it out or flip it.
Okay.
And if the numbers didn't work, we were at the table. We turned it into a listing presentation. So it worked very well for us. We got a lot of business that way.
Yeah, nice, nice. And Jen, what were you doing back then in 2003? Was it all admin?
No, in 2003, I was a licensed agent. So I was actually working another full-time job outside of real estate.
What were you doing?
Well, I worked for Yankee Candle for a long time, so management, retail management, and then I was a licensed optician.
Okay.
And worked in the real estate business at the same time. I would say more on a part-time basis, and then I still kind of had, more of the roles of, we had 2 kids at that time. So we had our first in 2003 and then another child in 2005. So, he says, I laugh when he said only 1 transaction a month, but coming from where we came from and like these little small jobs to that, it was a substantial increase in our income at that point. And then it was easy. In 2003, everybody wanted to buy a house. Everybody was getting approved. It was like people were just coming to us. We didn't really have to do much work.
Phones ringing off the hook.
Yeah, we didn't have to do much work to get anything. And so, I still did, the reason I did the, the odd jobs is because of insurance. Like we just needed some sort of benefits for our family.
Sure.
But yeah, I was doing real estate then too, just on a lower scale than Josh. But still in the business, working with his dad as well on the same team and observing similar things.
Sure. And obviously you've got 2 kids.
Yeah,
to look
2
at
kids.
the time. How many kids do you have now?
Now we have 4.
4. Okay.
kids.
Let's get back to that because I'm sure that's curious how you managed to how old are they? I'm curious.
Our oldest is just turned 13, and then we have an 11-year-old, and then we have twins that are going to be 6 next month.
6, 11, and 13. That sounds like a handful in addition to real estate.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm sure our audience would be very interested in how you manage that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely a dynamic.
Yeah. So what changed for you in your business in, say, 2006, 2007, as you started to notice the market shifting? Did you start to do something different? Did you evolve in some way? How did that look?
2006. I tried to erase it from my brain, Bob. We were into a couple properties. Okay, so we had about 2 or 3 projects going on at that time.
Fix and flips?
Fix and flips, yeah, absolutely. And, I know for at least one of them we got stung pretty bad. The other 2 was able to sustain us through the time that we decided we wanted to move in 2008 to come up here. So 2007 we had the decision, Jen wanted to move to Pennsylvania to be closer to her family. And we decided to put all our eggs into that basket. So we kept selling traditional. We had traditional sales at that time.
Yeah.
Right. We just had to adjust our budget, and scrape by. And then we moved, and it was a whole different. It was worse than where we were in Maryland because now we're in a new state. Yeah. No database. No business whatsoever.
Right. So what did you do?
Started over.
Started over. Yeah.
What does that look like? Well, because starting over is a challenge for anyone. Yeah. So what did you focus on when you had to start over?
Well, 2008, I focused on distress sales. Okay, the market of the moment, as I believe the MREA says, right? Deal with the market in the moment. So
the millionaire real estate agent.
The millionaire real estate agent.
Sure.
Yeah. So we were in that. Okay, distressed properties. We went after a lot of bank sales. Okay.
Kind of maybe some people in our audience may not understand exactly what type of business that is. So why don't you explain a kind of a average transaction that you were looking at those times as being a real part of your business?
Okay,
what
so
would happen?
All right, so as part of being a REO agent, real estate owned agent is what they call, you would go after major accounts with banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, HUD, and you would apply to be their agent to sell homes for them. Okay, so what that would look like is basically if the bank had any inventory to send you, they would ask you to be their listing agent. You'd go to the house, and the price ranges varied from $10,000 up to could be a $400,000 or $500,000 house. Okay, and you put it on the market for them, and it would be a lot of admin heavy business. So a lot of paperwork involved. a lot of computer work.
So instead of consumers, your clients are banks.
Exactly. Yeah, that was one piece of it. No, we went after traditional sales as well.
Sure.
But, I remember in the area, we didn't know anybody. I had to think of a quick way to make an income. And that's what we went after, because it gives you a lot of volume and a lot of units.
Right.
If you do it right.
A lot of signs in the yard.
A lot of signs in the yard. If you get the right account, it could multiply very quickly. So that's what I need to do. Not having a database. And in the meantime, while working in the bank business, we built up our database, and it started getting bigger and bigger. And more traditional sales came as a result of that.
Yeah. There's been a lot of research over the years about kind of the average behavioral profile of a top producing agent, right? And largely that includes being highly assertive and very social.
Right.
And naturally, you're really neither. You're a very methodical, detail-oriented guy who's very patient, very very consistent. So how does your behavioral profile play into the kind of business that you were doing with respect to real estate owned properties?
Well, on the bank side, it helps to be methodical when it comes to the back end technology stuff that they want and the reports that they want. Okay. Since then, I've leveraged that out to my team. Okay. And but it definitely helps being very analytical, especially if you're doing CMAs for the bank, comparative market analysis, so that they know you're almost typing out an appraisal report. It's not an appraisal because I don't have an appraisal license.
Yeah.
But it just about is, because you're giving them all the data that an appraiser would give. Okay. So I think it comes into play there. Now, I can be assertive, especially on the traditional side, but when I go home at the end of the day, it sort of goes away, and I can, I don't get my energy from going out to the bar with 50 people.
Yeah.
I get my energy from sitting on a chair and reading a book. So, I can be social during the day, and when I need to be. It's just my natural tendency is to be, by myself.
Yeah, or talk to one or two people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you said you leverage some of that administration out now. How do the two of you run your day? I mean, how do you prioritize your time? What's in your top 20% in terms of effective work?
Wow. So we try to leverage a lot of things out. We still do some of the bank-owned business, and Josh had mentioned we have 2 on our staff, and so one of them handles our HUD accounts, one handles our Fannie Mae accounts. We have a property runner now, does a lot of property visits for us.
When you say they handle them, they're handling the administration.
The administration side of it, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Tons of emails coming through, from those companies. That's how all the communication is. So if we sat in front of if we had to handle all the emails coming from them, we'd be in front of the computer all day. We wouldn't be able to go on any listing appointments or show any houses. So for us, it was, a matter of creative thinking, and not having someone could do a traditional, admin role, someone that's a little more outside of the box and, a little flexible on, what their job description is. And we added a property runner, and that was a big thing for us too, because we were spending a lot of time driving in the car to visit the different houses, the bank stuff, and take pictures ourselves. And so now we have a all-in-one guy. He's a photographer.
He's everywhere.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
But he's literally a photographer. He does the property visits, and
absolutely.
So what do you put on your schedule first, Josh? What goes on your schedule before anything else? The must-do stuff.
In the morning, I wake up and use the bathroom.
Good.
Absolutely. And I try to get my body moving, So that's going to the gym. With the weather being nice, I like to get out onto the trail, go for a jog, or at least go for a walk, just to get out into nature.
Yeah.
With that, I do affirmations. I do visualization. Okay. And then I come back to the house, get the kids ready for school, drop them off to whether they're going to camp or school, and then in the office by 9 o'clock.
By 9.
By 9 o'clock.
Tell me about what do you visualize in the morning while you're out in nature? What do you do? What do you see?
I just visualize my future self, right? So the goals that I have, I try to be vivid with it so that I can feel that maybe if it's a luxury item we want, just kind of feel it in my mind that I have it. If it's a nice car, visualize a bank statement with a lot of zeros behind it. it could be visualizing an appointment that I have that day
Mm-hmm.
that I want to go, that I want it to be successful. So I see that in my head, and then
And what does that do for you?
that just makes you feel good, It just makes you feel good.
It kind of drives, I would imagine it would create drive to accomplish that in your day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So once you get to work, what's top on the schedule there?
Lead generation.
Okay. And how does that look for you?
Okay, so for me, I open up my database, okay, and I start with hot leads.
Where do you go? Do you do it like where do you actually lead generate?
Oh, I have an office space with a stand-up desk. It's actually in our cubicle section of our office.
It's kind of an open space right
It's
in the
an
middle of
open
the
space,
office, right? I've seen that.
My admin are in the back, okay? I don't want them bothering me, okay? It's funny, just a side note, when we go back to the bank stuff. The way I want my bank side, I've broken it up into two sides of the business, right? The bank stuff and the traditional. In terms of the bank stuff, there's houses I don't even see. I don't even want to, I joke around saying I'm the Wizard of Oz. With somebody. If an agent calls in, has a question, I don't exist. Handle it. Let's get it sold. Okay. And I oversee it, and I jump in when I have to. But they do a wonderful job of getting those properties settled, and then I convert the leads that come in. So
Right.
on a typical day, come in from 9 to 12. Okay, I'm in my cubicle section with a stand-up desk. I have my computer there, and I put on a set of headsets so I can make calls, and I start calling out hot leads, people we know in our database, doing follow-up calls. Okay, and I take breaks in between because I can't call for 3 hours straight. I have to take a bathroom break, get a drink, get a snack.
Yeah. So you lead generate for 3 hours.
From 9 to 12. That's the goal.
Like once a week or?
From Monday through Friday. That's the goal.
Monday through Friday,
Monday
9
through
to
Friday,
12.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Wow.
Now
That's
you will
discipline.
see. Yeah, you will see that it is 10:30 now, and we're doing this in the morning.
Yeah.
So
Except for when you're doing TV shows.
right, except for when we're doing TV shows.
Yeah, sure.
So there's always stuff that gets in the way, But the important thing is to build that habit, where if you don't do it, you just feel guilty about it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I was at home doing nothing, I'd feel like hell because I wasn't doing my job.
I get it. So what would you think is top on your list, Jen? What's the most important thing that you usually schedule once you get to the office?
I would say the same thing as Josh. I mean, I know I personally don't usually do the 3 hours of lead generation. And I think it's because I have a little bit more of an abridged day because of the kids.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm running a little bit late getting them in there, or I have to leave by a certain time to pick the kids up or be home to get the bus.
Yeah.
So I try to shorten my lead gen a little bit. But the same things, come in, do your lead follow-up with the hot leads, any leads that came in, and then go back to the database, calling your sphere of influence, a lot of people from our, church that we've done a lot of business with, and just friends and family, or referrals from them. Making sure I follow up with them to make sure that we don't lose, we don't want to lose any clients, or we've built this relationship with them where they, know we're going to be accountable to a certain level, and that we want to make sure that we follow through with that.
So if you guys were to say maybe a percentage of business that you do with people that you've already done business with, that are either repeat business or referral business, what percentage of your business is that?
If we're talking units, it's different from units in a volume perspective. If we're talking units, I'd say it's probably 20%. Okay. Volume, it's probably higher, more like 40%.
Okay, right.
Only because of the bank stuff tends to be a lower end
price
property.
Range. Yeah.
Okay. Whereas if we get a referral, it could be a $400,000 house that they sell and they buy a new one. So that's probably 10 properties if I were selling them on the bank side. So that's why we broke that up into two different businesses. Working with my coach, we really divided those pieces of the business separately so that we could keep an eye on it and make sure when we come in, our daily activities are geared towards increasing the traditional business.
Now, the market shifts. I mean, we're in a real world environment where things go up and things go down all the time. You've seen the market when it was strong. You've seen the market when it was weak. I would imagine you assume the market is strong today?
I do. I do believe the market's very strong right
Safe to assume someday it'll be weak?
Very safe to assume.
Yeah. So what do you think about preparation for those shifts? How do you deal with that from a mindset perspective and from a practical perspective of being prepared for those shifts in the market and whatever shift might be coming up?
Okay, so practically speaking, keeping an eye on with my coach, keeping an eye on our profit and loss statement. Okay. I have a weekly report. I make sure that our numbers stay. I like to look at the pending GCI number, gross commission income, to make sure that hovers around a range that I like. Okay, and that shows me what money's coming in the next few months. Okay, so I keep an eye on that. And your other side of that question was?
I was just looking at how you prepare for future shifts in the market. So you're looking at your P&L statement, you're looking at pending income, but how do you look at longer term shifts?
I think it's being dynamic. I think we have, our business has a lot of facets to it. We have the bank side and then we have the retail side. So, we don't want to rely on the bank side because we don't know what's going to happen in the shift. That could go away or that could get stronger, and that would be great. That's kind of running in the background constantly. But by focusing on, the continual retail side of things with the sphere of influence, I think it gives us a kind of an edge, I feel.
So I have the mindset of when the shift comes, it's just a great opportunity to gain more market share because agents will start drawing away from the business, okay? And that's a great opportunity for higher teams. And I do think 10, 15 years from now, the market industry is going to be dominated by mega agent teams, okay, that are going to...
Already kind of moving in that direction.
I mean, we are. You see it now, but it more so 10, 15 years from now, it's going to be very dominant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And curiously, I think you're in a really amazing position where you've got two business models that work separately, but synergistically that you can shift energy from one to the other based on the market, right? Which I think is really, really cool.
Absolutely. It's great, not having all your eggs in one basket. It's a very scary thing.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to if you're doing a lot of bank stuff. You've heard about REO agents who are doing nothing but REO, and I feel bad for them because they don't have the skills, they don't have the salesmanship skills, or they don't want to build a database that's going to sustain a long-term business for them. So, they're a shift away from maybe the bank getting fired.
When the market goes strong, that business starts to become difficult to find.
And I didn't want to run it that way.
Yeah.
Our goal is traditional sales, right? That's what we coach on. And the bank side it's a separate entity that we do good at. It's not where all of our focus lies. Right
so your base is relationship based.
Relationship, absolutely.
And you augment that with work through bank work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You mentioned just a couple of minutes ago about a P&L statement. And I think it's fascinating that such a large percentage of realtors don't understand financials. What do you think that the average agent's relationship is with financials?
Oh, I got a check. Let me deposit it and spend it.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the average because they don't teach you in real estate school. I never heard until maybe a few years in the business. They don't teach you how to save for taxes, right? Okay, so you get a commission check. You got to put money away for taxes because they're not taking that out of your check.
It's not your money, right?
It's not your money. It's the government's money, and they can spend it wherever the hell they want to, whether we like it or not. And that's it for a different video.
So were you always financially oriented with respect to a P&L and things like that, or was that something that evolved over time?
It evolved over time, absolutely.
How did that work? What was the shift that caused you to start thinking about that and then acting on that?
I think when we got to the end of the year and we had a lot of money that was due for taxes and we really didn't have all of it saved. I think it was a reality check. It was like,
the first few years of the business was like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you're not alone there because I experienced the same thing. So I think a lot of agents do, right?
Right.
So did somebody help you with that? I mean, did you just say, okay, I'm going to whip up a P&L, or did somebody help you with that?
Well, you do the financial mastery course in our market centers, and that was a tremendous help. Okay, it's before then I was already saving for taxes, but you had taught us maybe we should save, have a bucket account too, where we put extra money towards it. So we started doing that through coaching. They teach us how to generate a profit and loss statement. I don't do it myself. That's something I leverage that out as well. I have an outside company that handles my P&L statement for me.
Is that a bookkeeper and a kind of accounting service?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Pay a small fee, $125 a month. They handle all the financials, send me a report, and it's based off the Millionaire Real Estate Agent numbers. Okay, so you get a nice graph, shows you where you are and where you should be based on the model.
Okay. Can they do your taxes too? Or you have one?
They could do your taxes. I have somebody else.
Do
in
that?
Pennsylvania do my taxes, but they could do it if you wanted them to for an added fee.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of people that make the shift from being sales oriented to being business oriented do that with help. I mean, it's hard to do that without some kind of guidance. And you mentioned a coach. Tell me about that. Who is your coach, and what's your experience and kind of history with coaching?
Okay, so right now I'm in MAPS coaching on the mastery level. My coach is Steve Kaut. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, MAPS is Mega Agent Productivity Systems.
Right. It's a Keller Williams MAPS division. Keller Williams coach division.
Specific for mega agents and leadership, I think, right?
Well, really anybody who wants to take their business to the next level.
Okay.
You could get you licensed today and join Mastery Coaching.
Awesome.
Right? If you had the guts to do it.
And there are people that do that.
There are people that do that.
Yeah.
If you had the guts to take that on, there's no doubt about it, it would help your business.
So did you start day one, or was there some kind of limiting belief that was in your head that said, oh, I don't know if I'm ready yet?
Yeah, there was a limiting belief, and it always boils down to the finances, right? You're sending a coach $1,000 a month. You're not really sure if you're going to receive that return back.
Sure, it's a big commitment.
Okay, and then coming to Keller Williams, it just changed your mindset totally. So pre-Keller Williams, I can't spend this money. Post Keller Williams, or joining Keller Williams and being in the company now, knowing you need the education and you need the accountability has really helped with that.
Yeah. Tell me what you thought about that, Jen. When you both thought about saying, let's start writing a check for $1,000 a month for a coach.
It was a little hard. It was a hard pill to swallow because I was still kind of doing the admin stuff because that was in Pennsylvania. So I was here